my deceitful, shady, cheating self, all right? But on the other end, I have to kind of police the shady activity within the league. So it's hard to do stuff to get, to do stuff myself and then get guys in trouble for doing the same thing. It's a fine line I walk. But I managed to get it done because I'm that crafty, all right? But the forgotten commandment is cheat, if you can, in so many words. Be sneaky, lie. Any way you can to get an upper hand in your league, any loophole you can find with waiver wires or trade, anything you can do it. You're going to have people get mad at you. I mean, we're all really good friends in our league, and there are people get legitimately mad at each other because of some of the things that go down. Hey, it's part of life. Yeah, it's big boy fantasy football. You don't like it, don't play. All right, bottom line. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to do rankings because, like I said, I don't have a lot of time here. All right, so we're going to do rankings. I did top 25 of quarterbacks, and mind you, this had to get updated a little bit. All right, I had to do make a few revisions, if you will, because Brett Favre came back. All right, now Kurt Warner has been named the starter for Arizona. That makes that's a big difference. Kurt Warner puts up gigantic numbers for Arizona. So that automatically, I can't just plug him in where I had Matt Leinart. I got Matt Leinart on here. I had Matt Leinart ranked something terrible. Where is he? I can't even, he's so far down my list, I can't even find him. I don't even know that I ranked him. I had Matt Leinart ranked so far down. I had him ranked 21. He barely even made my top 25. But Kurt Warner. Now, if Kurt Warner can stay healthy all year for Arizona, well, he might be a top 10. I mean, he might be a top 10 quarterback. If he can stay healthy, this guy puts up crazy numbers, and he has amazing receivers to throw to, and it changes everything around. Kurt Warner has been named a starter, changes everything around. On the other side, the 49ers have named J.T. O'Sullivan a starter, doesn't change anything. Don't draft him. I mean, yeah, draft him late if you want, but J.T. O'Sullivan might be good, might not, you don't know. Either do I. Nobody knows. Okay, bottom line. But let's start with quarterbacks and get through this, because I'm 8 minutes into my broadcast already, and what have we done? What have we got done? Not much. All right. Now, if you want, I've gone on my MySpace page and I've listed my rankings for QBs and running backs. All right, and I have a little write-up on everybody. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Go ahead, leave a comment if you don't like it. I already got one comment from Kranz, one of my buddies, who's up. He likes to argue. That's just the way he works. He likes to debate. He calls it whatever. Well, let's do quarterbacks. All right. Number one, this is so easy. Tom Brady. I mean, we're not even going to argue. There's nobody. Peyton Manning is the only one close. And but Tom Brady is going to put up gaudy numbers again. I think he's going to get 4. A lot of people say, well, history shows that when a quarterback goes and sets a touchdown record, he comes back the next year and barely even throws 30 because of Peyton Manning and Dan Marino. Just forget about all that, all right? Tom Brady will throw 40 touchdowns this season. He's not going to throw 52 again. That would be incredible. He's going to throw 40, which will be better than anyone else in the league. And he's going to have a huge amount of yards. Things are going to go well for Tom Brady. Don't worry about his little foot injury or whatever that is. Tom Brady's not missing time, I promise. All right, I promise. He's coming in, he's playing, he's throwing 40 touchdowns. He's the number one QB. No argument. All right, number 2, Peyton Manning. He's the model of consistency. Every year, Peyton Manning steps in, and he's in the top 2 or 3 in everything. All right, he's one of the most consistent quarterbacks in football. He is fantasy gold. Trust me, I have him. I will not let him go. I will have Peyton Manning until he no longer plays football. But Peyton Manning, and he's returned to practice today. I know that he's been hurt. He had an infected bursa sac or something crazy he had to get worked on. And but he's back now. He's back in practice, and from what I understand, he practiced today, and he's pain-free after practice. So he should be starting week 1. Don't be scared of Peyton Manning. He'll be fine. I think he's gonna toss 38 or 39 touchdowns this year. He's actually going to improve from last year, which was kind of a disappointing season, even though he threw over 4,000 yards and like 32 touchdowns. Kind of a disappointing season for Peyton Manning, but he'll bounce back with a big season. I like Peyton Manning, number 2. Number 3, Drew Brees. Now, a lot of people are going to go Tony Romo right here in the 3rd spot. And at the end of last year, he had better overall numbers than Drew Brees. All in all, he had a better year. But here's what I didn't like. Tony Romo faded away at the end. I think he only threw 3 touchdowns in weeks 14, 15, and 16. You know what? That's fantasy playoffs. He only threw 3 touchdowns in that 3-week span, I'm pretty sure. All right, Drew Brees, on the other hand, only threw 1 touchdown in the first 4 games, but then it proceeded to throw 28 touchdowns or something ridiculous after that. So here's what I take. I take the yardage monster, which is Drew Brees, over Tony Romo, because he's hot late. He's hot in the playoffs when it matters. If you lose a couple games early in the season because of a few off days from your quarterback, it's not a big deal. You can make up for it later. But if your quarterback disappears at the end of the year, you're in big trouble. It doesn't matter what you've done all season. It doesn't matter if Tony Romo throws 34 passes in the first 13 weeks, or 34 touchdowns in the first 13 weeks. It's what he does in those last 3 weeks that really, really matter. All right? It's great if he can get you to the playoffs. If he can't get you over the hill, what good does it do? I like Drew Brees over Tony Romo, bottom line. All right, but number 4, Tony Romo. I didn't say I didn't like Romo. All right, he puts up gigantic numbers. That's no lie, but you have to be careful in the postseason. You have to be careful in the fantasy playoffs, because if you depend on Tony Romo, you may be in trouble, unless this is the year, and it very well could be, because, mind you, he hasn't started that many games. He's not a veteran by any means. All right, so this could be the year that Tony Romo goes over the edge, and he's actually consistent and productive all season long, and he's worth. Anyhow, I'd still like him as the number 4 overall quarterback, just based on what he can do the first 13 weeks at least. Does that make sense? Good for you.